At midnight on July 24th, Logic released his latest, and if you didn't know, last project, No Pressure, which is obviously an ode to his first big project, Under Pressure. And I'm going to rate this a solid 8. It's from at least a strong 7 to a very good 8, pushing 9. And I believe that is an excellent way for him to end his career. The production was immaculate on this project. No ID did his thing. He laced it. They should give him his props, his credit, whatever he needs, because him and Logic worked really well here, and they brought together a great project that you can really listen to, sit down with, and just play it from front to end. And I feel really good saying that for Logic, considering that he's gotten a lot of flack for his last few projects, specifically the last 3. Basically anything since 2017, people have kind of been all over him. They feel like maybe some things are lazy, or their bars are corny, or blah, blah, blah. And honestly, it was getting tiring hearing people talk about Logic in that way. And I'm not a big Logic fan or anything. I don't listen to him a lot. So when I heard this, I was like, man, I believe this is something where he can finally leave, and the critics will say, okay, we got to give him some props for this. And I just love to see when artists can do that, just shut everybody up, basically. And I believe Logic did that on this project. If you believe so too, let me know. Now, before I go into a little bit more of why I like this project, at least his first impressions of it, I'm going to go ahead and say subscribe to the channel, and turn on those notifications so you can be up to date with the new videos that I release. And so Logic did a lot of cool things in this project with the production, even with his bars. A lot of homage played and a lot of odes that he kind of gave out, specifically on the track Heard Him Say. It was a big Kanye West tribute, and you can hear the Kanye West influence throughout the album in general, but specifically on that track, you can hear it. He even sounded like him on these particular lines where he says, "S, I know you can because I did. I know you can because I done it." And the way he delivered the lines actually sounded a lot like something that Kanye West would deliver, or how Kanye would deliver something. And even the influences in general on this project, the ode to Outkast on GP4, when in the hook he's like me and you, and obviously that goes back to Outkast in their track when they're like me and you, your mama and your cousin too, that track. And so it's just so many Easter eggs, like hip hop Easter eggs, points back to Logic's old album like Under Pressure or The Incredible True Story. So many things where you're just like, this is a very enjoyable listen, and something that I would recommend others would actually get into. Also, I just want to say specifically the last 4 bars on Amen were amazing from a delivery standpoint, in my opinion. Even the way he used his voice there, go back and just listen to it. There's just some really good stuff he did round and round. I think the thing that prevents this album from being even better is that Logic doesn't employ denser lyricism here across the project in general. At times he kind of gets into his bag a little bit, but not overall. He has one too many filler bars, in my opinion, here. At least for me, because I love dense lyricism, and I think that takes a project to the next level when you can do that. But too many filler bars in different spots, and that's what keeps it at like a solid 8 for me. That ending track too wasn't even a song, Obediently Yours, is just really timely. 6 minutes of someone speaking, Orson Welles, who's one of the most famous film directors of all time, but just speaking on issue of racism in light of the fact that a black veteran was beaten during that time. It was in 1946. If you want to look up the history of that, go ahead. But he was a very big voice in radio, and he used his radio broadcasting platform to speak out against racism. Something that the stuff he's saying, it even applies to today, and it just lets you know that these things aren't new. And people want to pretend or want to act like that people are just making a big deal out of this now, or just some social justice warrior thing, or like all these things that they try to throw out now, not realizing that we've never corrected the issues that led to these circumstances from the beginning. And that's why they keep being talked about. And Logic just let the last project, the last track on this album, just address that from 1940s. That's crazy. And it's really a call for society to address injustice. And that's what we got to do. And I'm going to quote one of the things he said in there. Interesting in avoiding them. He's talking about riots there. He said, interesting because I try to avoid riots. So I call for action against the cause of the riots. He didn't say I'm going to tear down and beat up the people or like yell against them for the rioting. Because like, honestly, obviously we know that the riots aren't the end goal. That's not something that we want to celebrate or that should be happening. But instead of focusing and spending all your energy on speaking out against the riot, how about we speak out against the thing that caused it so that the riots can stop? And that's just simple logic. And I didn't even try to do that, but I think that's a perfect place to end this video on. Thank you for watching.